My name is Dan. I'm excited to make this video today. I'm a new disc golfer. For a little bit of context, I played a little bit in high school just for fun. And I got into disc golf when we moved here to Myrtle Beach in August. So it's been, the time of the video, about 4 months, and I just like documenting stuff. I've done a lot of videos and stuff like that for businesses in the past, and so today I wanted to make a in the bag video, just to show you, as a new disc golfer, I'm an 850 rated, for whatever that's worth. Just to show you, 855, excuse me, just to show you what's in my bag. And if you're new, the biggest thing that I've done that's helped me get from my first rating was a not super impressive 822 to an 855 now, after 2 or 3 rating cycles. Biggest thing that's helped me get any form of consistency in my disc golf game at all has been just finding one brand that I like and utilizing that brand almost entirely, just because it's the consistency, and I can figure out what plastic I like and what type of shapes shots I can throw and stuff like that. So hopefully that's helpful, but I want to show you what's in my disc golf bag. I'm using this Squatch bag I got from somebody here at the club locally, and it's great. I can fit, I think right now I have about 20 discs, maybe a little more than that in there. I definitely don't throw all of them all the time. So I'll start off with my putters. So the first one I have is a dyed Atom. It's a Lab Second by MVP. So it's an Atom, which is the one that I'll throw. It's a little bit more understable, at least the way I throw it. It goes kind of to the right a little bit, fades out. I have 2 Ions, which are pretty beat in, but they're more overstable putters. And then I have 2 Anodes, which are dead straight. Like I can throw these, if I go about 100 feet or so, they'll pretty much fly straight as an arrow. And then in this little bag right here, I have a Glitch as well, which I zipped up yesterday for some reason, but I got a Glitch which will go straight. So those are the ones I have in there. I have a dyno disc for when my son comes with me in there. I don't need to show you all that, but so those are the putters that I have. Oh, and a Berg. So I also have just a good old-fashioned K1 Berg. This is the only non-MVP disc I carry, because I got rid of my range actually before I decided I was going to go to all MVP stuff. So this MVP Berg is a solid approach for me. I have then, I guess they're technically still putters, but I have 2 Watts. I have an R2 Watt and then a Neutron Watt. The reason I have 2 of them is because the Neutron Watt for me is a little bit more beat in actually, and so it'll kind of fade out a tiny bit and then come back. It ends up being very, very, very dead straight for me. Whereas the R2 Watt is gonna go a little bit more overstable, so it crashes out a little bit at the end. So I have 2 Watts, both of them very consistent around that 200-foot mark. And then I bought in the used bin a Proxy. I think this is Electron plastic. I'm still learning all of them. Neutron plastic, sorry, I lied. But this Proxy has actually turned into something I love. Like I'm throwing this one on anything that fades out, anything I need a little bit of turnover on. That's a mid-range shot. This Proxy's come in super handy for that. So those are my putters, I guess you could say. And then let's go to the mid-range section here. I believe that's it. I have a lot of longer discs, I guess, or fairway drivers. So from a mid-range standpoint, I have a Detour. So it's the MVP 2023 Gyropalooza Box MVP Detour. This is new to my bag. I do like it a lot. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's actually become more consistent for me than what is my Hex, which replaced my Buzz. I loved my Buzz. In fact, I still do love it, but because I'm trying to throw entirely MVP, minus my Berg, my Hex and the Detour have been battling for that Buzz position. But the Detour for me throws a lot like the Buzz SS that I was throwing for a while. But these 2, the Detour, the purple one, and the Hex, the blue one, are staples in my game at this point. They're probably my 2 most thrown discs outside of my putters. Then I have my Tempo. It is a Proton Lab Second Tempo from the this year's Gyro Box. And then I have my Balance. So when I started throwing forehand, I would throw a zone a lot. And I loved it. And so when I switched to these, I kept my zone in my bag, but I found myself grabbing my tempo more often than my zone because I trusted it more. It's not to say that it's better, but it worked better for me. It's a little bit less understable or overstable, excuse me. So when I throw it on a forehand, it comes back in and crashes pretty good for me. And being new and not good at forehand shots right now, it's been incredibly helpful to learn that. And then the balance for me is the same as this. It just goes a little bit further. I'm sure some of you pros on YouTube, your professional couch disc golfers, are going to say, well, their flight numbers are different, so they're not the same, and they fly different and whatever. And sure, that might be true, but for me, as a newer disc golfer, very much an amateur, I find these to be very similar discs. The balance goes probably 50 to 75 feet further, but does the exact same thing that the tempo does for me in terms of flight path. It's just a longer shot. So those are my two overstable approach discs. And then I have two of these ones. I have two rhythms. I believe this is a rhythm. Yep, I have two rhythms. I have a neutron and a proton. For me, this one is super flippy. It's pretty beat in. I got it used from a friend of mine, and it's beat in like you wouldn't believe. And then this one, for whatever reason, does not flip at all. It will go dead straight, about 250 to 275, very, very consistently. I love this thing. I throw this a lot. And anytime I feel like I gotta put a little bit more straight and less fade out on it, I will throw my rhythm over my Crave. So I have two rhythms. And then similar in that spot for me personally is a Crave. I understand some of you are gonna be like, that's not the same disc. It's very different. It is very different, but for me, being new, consistency and trust in my disc is everything. This thing for me, dead straight, slight fade at the end. The Crave is great. I love this one on anything a little over 300 feet. Oh, I'll be able to get it like basically right there. And then last thing on fairway drivers would be a Volt. The Volt, I was throwing a Dynamic Discs Evader. Someone, when I was like literally 3 weeks into play, and said, get an Evader, you'll love it. I got an Evader, I loved it. When I decided to make the switch to MVP, I needed something that would fit that slot, and this did it. So the Volt for me is a great shot on anything that's like a hard dog leg, where I need a skip to come in. That's 250 to 325-ish. The Volt is it for me. I'm not very consistent with it yet though. So I want to get a Volt in Proton Plastic. I've heard that Proton Plastic is a little bit skippier and a little bit better for what I'm trying to accomplish with that. So we'll see. I don't have that currently. All right, now for my long ones, I'm going to go with my least favorite to my favorite one. So I have in 5th place in terms of favorite is a Trance. So it is an Electron Plastic Lab Second Trance. Traded this for somebody for a trail. Actually, I had a bunch of trails, traded this one to him. And I actually really like this disc. It's really good for me on like 3 or 4 holes at our 2 local courses with longer drives here in Myrtle. I throw them every time off the tee, very consistently, very reliable. It says it's understable. It doesn't really flip much for me unless I throw it like perfectly flat. If I throw it perfectly flat, it will a little bit and come back. But for the most time, most of the parts, wow, words are hard. Most of the time, for the most part, it'll go dead straight and then crash out just a bit at the end. But it's a very, very good, reliable fairway driver for me. Then I have my Defy. Just again, may not believe me on this, but for me, this is like a really long balancer tempo, very overstable the way that it throws for me. It crashes out super hard. I can throw this probably maybe 275, 300 on a forehand with little to no accuracy, but it'll go pretty far, which is cool. And it's also like a good chop shot for me. So if I need something to kind of come up and fade back out a little bit and get a little bit of distance, I'll throw that. The Wave. Wave is something that I threw a few times and I hated it. But as I got this one and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to learn to love this disc because it's a far disc. If I throw it on a little bit of hyzer, it comes out, flips up, and it'll go dead straight forever. This is, fun fact, one of 2 discs that I've thrown over 400 feet ever. Usually I end up about 350 on drives. I've thrown 2 discs over 400. This is one of them. This is a Wave. I have my Virus, super, super, super understable, very, very, very flippy. There's a few holes that this is perfect for, that I will only use this on those holes, but it's in my bag specifically for a backhand turnover. And this is the other one that I've thrown 400. This is actually the longest one I threw. It was 423 on one of the Socrates holes. Love this disc. I really, really do. It's not my favorite, but it's close. And then Old Faithful, my trail, a spooktacular trail from Bearded Sloth Disc Golf. I love this thing. It's so reliable for me. I hope this is a helpful video. I'm super new, and I'm sure there are new people that are interested in what a new person should put in their bag. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like the video.